So a loop is something that goes on until you stop it. So you've got a certain code into a loop, and that code will run until a specific condition is met. So for example, if I tell the loop cell A1 needs to be 5, then it will continue running that loop until cell A1 is equal to 5. So you need to have some sort of incremental change to the loop to be able to get cell A1 to 5, because otherwise it will just run forever. So for this example, I created a button, called it loop, and I just opened up the code for it. So when I click this button, this code will run. So the normal structure of a loop is you're going to say do until, then you need to put a criteria there. So in this case, I can say range A1 is equal to 5. So do until range A1 is equal to 5. And until it's got 1L. And then you end your loop with this. So now that is your basic principle of a loop. So whatever I put inside of this loop will run until range A1 is equal to 5. If I put at the bottom here, range A1 is equal to 5, and I put it inside the loop, then effectively this loop will only run once, because it will do whatever I tell it to do. And let's say, for example, I want to go and insert the number 1 in B1. So I'm going to go range B1 is equal to 1. So I want to do that. So then we're going to start this loop and say do this loop until the range A1 is 5. Then it's going to start and go to range B1 and make that 1. And then it's going to go to range A1 and make it 5. Then it's going to go back and see what is my criteria. It's saying do until range A1 is A5. Now in this case, we finished the loop by saying it's A5, so it won't run again. So effectively it will only run once. So if I want to start this, so let's start this whole program by saying A1 is equal to 1. So when I click this button, then it's going to go to the cell A1 and make it 1. Then it's going to start here. And then just before we finish this loop, we can say range A1 is equal to the current value in it plus 1. So let's look at what will happen the first time. It will go to range A1 and make it 1. That's not in the loop. Then it will start the loop. Then it's going to say do this loop until A1 is 5. Then it's going to make range B1 1. Then just before we close the loop, it's going to go to range A1 and take the current value of A1 plus 1. So the first time it's going to be 1 plus 1. So it's going to be 2. So it's going to start over again. Do until range A1 is 5. In this case, the second time it's going to be 2. So it's going to run again. It's going to make range B1 1 again. Then it's going to go there. Plus 1 again. So then it's going to be 3. And so it will go on until range A1 is 5. So effectively this loop will now run 5 times. So we can test that. Let's go there. And it's doing it. So it's a very quick thing. You won't really see it just because it's running so quickly. So we can also say range B1 is equal to range A1. So then we will effectively see at the end this should be a 4, 5. So let's go see. If I run this now, it's going to be a 4. Because when it's 5, it's not going to run. So it will only run until it's 4. So I mean, let's make this 500. And then you should be able to see it running. So it's still taking very quick. Let's make it 5,000. So now it will run 5,000 times. So can you see it ran there? So if you make it 50,000 times, then you should be clearly able to see how this loop is actually running through. Can you see how it's running? So this explains to you what the loop will do. It will effectively run the amount of times you tell it to run. So let's make this 5 again. So how do you make a loop? Because we did a loop there that stayed in the first cell. So how do you make one that actually goes to the next cell? You can actually use this to say range B1 is currently this. So when we start this, then we know it's going to be 1. But then why don't we just concatenate this to say that is range B plus A1. So the first time it's going to run, we know range A1 is 1, it's going to be B1. So it's going to go to range B1 and make it equal to this. Next time it will run, it will be a 2. Then it's going to go to range B2, and so on and so on. So if I make this 10, for example, there will be hopefully 10 cells. So can you see? So this is a very important thing. So remember in the previous video I showed you why a variable is so important. So the best way to have done that is just declare a variable. Let's call it ABC. So now I'm going to just clean all of this. So now I want to say do until ABC is equal to 10. So everywhere I've used range A1, I can just change it to ABC now. And then at the end, I'm just going to say ABC. So it's effectively the same principle, but you're not touching the cells because you don't really want to go and input more cells than you have to. Just do it at the back end. And declaring a variable will help you to do it at the back end where somebody won't see it. So now this will be effectively the same, but you don't have a value in A1. So let's change this to A. Let's change this to 1000. So now it will go and list 1 to 1000 for me. Can you see how quick it is? So we've run the same loop 1000 times. So this is a nice way to do loops.